Yeah, hi everybody, Andrew Kerr, Network Migration Services here again. Just a little bit of an update before next week's update. Sorry, just adjusting my chair. There seems to be a little bit of confusion coming in, and rightly so, with, of course, employers in New Zealand and, of course, employees potentially wanting to go to New Zealand under the new processes, under the accredited employer work visas. And a few people are having a misconception that if they're not on the green list, they won't have a pathway to residency. Well, that's actually not true. There will be an announcement. There's been an announcement that there will be an announcement on the 5th of September, which is, I think, Monday, regarding, of course, the introduction officially of the green list, Tier 1 and Tier 2, and hopefully we're also getting an update on the skilled migrant category as well. So potentially, as most of you are aware, I will do another blog next week, and we have got a webinar next week as well on the 7th of September at 8 p.m. South African time. Let me just check that date. Yes, it's 8 p.m. South African time, so please join me for the webinar next week on Wednesday night South African time, 8 p.m. Only because by then we should be able to tell you exactly what the green lists processes and fees, etc. We know what the fees are, but when they would be paid, etc., because it's a little bit of a grey area at the moment. So at the moment, just as a bit of a clarification, most of you who are immigrating to New Zealand will need, well, that are going in under finding a job first, i.e. not student visas and not spousal and not parent, etc. Most of you are going to need a job up front, if not all of the main applicants will. That job offer must be compliant to the specific occupational code that that particular offer falls under. Now, an occupational code, for those of you who know, and you all know this anyway, is an ANSCO code, which is the Australia New Zealand Standard Classification of your occupation. And both New Zealand and Australia work on ANSCO codes. So when it comes to you receiving a job offer, the job offer must marry up with a specific occupational code or ANSCO code for that specific offer. So we're then able to lodge your application based on that specific ANSCO code. So as you're mostly aware now, under the accredited employer's work visa, the employer first of all needs to be accredited. Well, we're astounded to see and incredibly pleased to see that there's up towards 10,000, if not slightly over 10,000 accredited employers in New Zealand now. It's a process that, whether you agree with it or not, current Labor government has brought it in. So the process is the employer must be accredited. So it's quite fast. INZ are actually doing accreditation processes normally done within a couple of weeks. So the employer applies for accreditation. That's normally granted in plus minus 10 days. And then, of course, the applicant applies for a specific job. Now, if the employer is accredited, of course, what happens is the employer then applies for a job token for that specific job role and approaches government on this. And we're happy to work with employers on this. We hardly charge employers to do this type of work for them. But anyway, so we work with the employer for them to submit a job check token to immigration. And that job check token normally takes 2 weeks. We're getting some approved in a day. We're getting some take longer. But issues are 2 weeks for the accreditation process, and then generally plus minus 10 days to 2 weeks for the job check token to be approved. Once that job check token is approved, then the applicant has a portal, if you like, or a number to load their application to. So what we do is we load the application to that specific job check token, and then you're granted a 3-year visa. The main applicant's visa is always linked to the company. Spouses are granted, either they're granted their visas at the same time or generally within a week or two afterwards, and children as well, either at the same time or generally a week or two afterwards. So it's not that much of a delay for spouses and children. But the main applicant's application is linked to the, of course, employer, spouse open-ended work visa at the moment, and of course children, depending on their ages, either get student visas or visitors visas, depending on their age groups. And then within that 3 years, you've generally got 3 pathways, possibly 4 pathways to residency. One is clearly from the green list, split in 2, because you've got green list tier 1, which is just under 80 occupations for that. And your pathway to residency, we've already been told, is going to be fast-tracked. We should know that early next week as to how fast that's going to be. I'm guessing probably 6 to 12 months, maybe even faster. And if it's faster, yippee. But if not, then, without me speculating, let's just wait until next week. But that's one pathway to residency, Greenlist Tier 1. In association with that, the Greenlist Tier 2. And Greenlist Tier 2 means that you would be able to apply for residency. Remembering you've got a 3-year work visa, you'll be able to apply for residency after 2 years on the Greenlist Tier 2. There's also a high income pathway if you're earning the 55.50 odd an hour, which is, I will get this figure wrong all the time because it's a slightly unusual figure, 55.52 per hour, and which equates to an annual salary of $115,484.60. So just round it up to $115,000. So if you're earning $115,484.60, then you will also have a residency pathway after 2 years. And then, of course, the other one is skilled migrant category, which they have announced they will reintroduce, which is the points-based visa, based on, of course, your skills, your occupation, your work experience, your qualifications, if you've got them, spousal work, etc., etc. So you've potentially got, 3 to 4 pathways from your residency application. And there has been a bit of a misconception that if you're not on the green list, you don't have a pathway to residency. Well, that's not true. You do. So I just wanted to sort of bring that to people's attentions today, because as we're working on, over 100 job offers at the moment, myself and my colleagues with New Zealand, which is fantastic news, not only for us, of course, as an agency, but also for our clients. A lot of them are receiving genuine offers of employment from offshore, which is fantastic. And those who aren't, as you're all aware, the borders opened a month ago to the day. Happy Spring Day, by the way, for everybody, as it's the 1st of September. But the borders opened a month ago, August 1st, and we're just starting to see visitors visa applications that we lodged in the first week of August coming through now. So it looks like the visitors visas hopefully are going to be processed in 1 to 2 months, which means that you are, of course, as long as you are informing immigration that you're coming to New Zealand to look for work, you are allowed to do that. So things are moving forward very quickly, and we're really pleased to be able to say that to yourselves as a general public and our clients. But we're still a little bit of grey area around Greenlist and speed of processing on priority applications, i.e. those on Greenlist Tier 1, and of course SMC application processing times as well. We should know all of this next week. It was announced that it was going to come out on the 25th of September, but it didn't. I.e. it didn't, because it's not the 25th of September yet, but they did announce, I believe it was plus minus 10 days ago, that they've pulled that announcement forward to the 5th of September. So we hope immigration sticks to that announcement and gives us some sort of clarification. So once again, log into the webinar next week, Wednesday night at 7 o'clock South African time, and hopefully we'll have a lot more facts and figures as to how this process is actually going to work. But the main reason for this blog, rather than me waffling on, which I have done, apologies, is just to inform you that you still have multiple pathways to residency. So do be aware that when we send you the processes, we will send you the general outlines of those processes as well. So if you aren't a client and you want to be assessed, please email me, andrew@networkmigration.com. Or if you've got any questions or queries, just email me, andrew@networkmigration.com. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe. We'll chat soon. Ciao.